with my wife Jaya. Got my energy right
That
here through an Arizona tea.
I don't have one because he didn't give me one.
Yeah, we're using it to hold the phone right now so we can share. So,
So we're here at the park right now. It's kind of cold, and then it's kind of crazy because I just wear slavos.
I'm in shorts, so
Yeah.
we're in the same position right now. Cloudy day. So we're gonna talk about a topic about very deep conversation right now. It's called COVID-19. So go ahead, start. Since she is a nurse, medical, go ahead and
No,
explain what COVID-19 is.
what? No, don't. Um, it is related with the COVID, but we will not. I will not really, or we will not really focus with the COVID thing, But COVID is related to our. I mean, to me and Kane's relationship. So way back then,
Wait,
2020,
what is COVID-19?
baby. It's a virus that is really contagious and it's all over the world. That's why it's called pandemic, and because no one can control it and everybody has it. So
Okay, so
it's
we're not going
dangerous.
to go into the details of everything, the background behind what COVID is. We're just going to get to the straight point that what COVID, how it affected our relationship.
Yeah.
So I'll start off the main point.
Hmm.
So during the time of COVID-19, we started dating in when?
May
Of what year?
2020.
May of 2020. And that was a long time ago. That was 4 years ago. I was 24 and she was 27.
Hmm.
So, due to the COVID pandemic, there was a lot of restrictions going around the world. They had
Yeah.
different policies, whether you can go or you can go, but you have to have insurance on the flight if you're going to go over there. So, just in case you get sick, some countries were complete lockdown. So, go ahead and elaborate a little bit more.
Yeah, because during that time, we as we all know, 2020 is the time that's the peak of the COVID. COVID starts at 2019, right? That's why we called COVID-19. But the peak was on 2020. So yeah, we're dating during 2020, and then
So, I would say we were getting established and getting our to know each other for a good several months before the idea popped into play because we
mhm.
started dating at the time that maybe we should
No,
see each
we
other.
we gonna talking each other at first during that time. Just friendly thing. May, June, July. I guess so.
Hmm. And then when we got to know, like I said, several months,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
the ideology came into play. When can we meet? And due to the COVID restriction that was happening
Mm-hmm.
in the Philippines, it was a no go. It was
Lockdown.
we had this.
Eh,
She used to hate when I say this, but I was like, President, I'm not gonna say his name, is trying to
Ah,
save the world. So we didn't know. I didn't know what time I would be able to see her, and she didn't know what time I'll be able to see me. And because of her situation, she wasn't able to come to America.
because such some things, it's a long process to take.
Yep, and
Mm-hmm.
basically you have to have financial backing
Yeah.
just to get a visa to come here. So
Mm-hmm.
it didn't work on her end to come here. I tried to thought of it, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
So me going to see her was the only rational way to go around it. But there was lockdowns, there was no flights into it,
Mm-hmm.
and during the span of when I was supposed to see her, we were looking at the news relentlessly,
Yeah.
religiously. However,
Weird.
every day we were looking at something and it brought a lot of arguments, fights, heartbreaks because there will be the good news, then it's no, never mind.
Yeah, something like something like they kind of put some or give some information like, oh, give us some hope, but all of the sudden like, oh no, like
Hmm.
that.
So it's just a very, how do you say, emotional roller coaster,
It
just kind of
is.
off. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. And it really got to the point where I just said, how do you say it's,
He pushed me away. Yeah, that's it.
and she pushed me away.
No, I meant he pushed me away, because you know because of we really don't know how or when it will stop, or the pandemic will stop. And I don't know if our hopes will continue or something to see each other. So that's why it's kind of we have that feeling that I don't know if it will work or what, and then time is running.
Mhm. Those terminologies didn't come into play, but I remember what I said exactly. I'd be like, I don't want to waste your time. Kind
Yeah.
of, you know,
Mm-mm.
it's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
I w- we didn't say break up, but it basically we got to the point. Basically, I told her, I don't want to waste your time. If there's something else that you're trying to look for in life, go for it. And it's just for a lot of a main reason, COVID
Mm-hmm.
can make or break a relationship at that point, and
Yeah, so much relationship
it's a lot of
crashed.
it's tough.
Yeah, it's really tough, really, and then to the point that you really need to be more strong, even though you were so soft inside, or something, like you're broken inside, like you don't have hope, but you really need to stay strong. But him, he is so, okay, what do you call this, that
Look,
he
she's a
is
great actor. She's been downplaying everything.
no, he is the one, like, so emotional. I am emotional, but I act as a mature during that relationship. He is always like, I don't have this, we don't have any future, or we don't have
I would say
any.
I was the one that was getting more.
He is weak during the time, not weak, what, weak emotionally. And yeah, I stand strong during that relationship, during
I
that
would say
time.
she was the stronger half in this.
I agree.
Never gave up, but it's just like I thought like just thinking about the future was pointless because it just
Mm.
you live day by day just
Mhm.
waiting for it. And another thing that we're gonna talk about is that wasn't even the hardest part.
Yes.
That was when was the flight? She's let's see if she knows her dates. When did I get to meet you?
March 7th, you arrive in the Philippines, but
What
you're
year for reference?
2022.
So 2 years later.
Yeah,
So
2 years later. You
that
see
it's a
that?
very trying time.
Really? And then, actually, he tries to book a flight or something like that on 2021. Like, babe. But, yeah, he really wants to, but the restriction is so tight, and then the
Mm.
lockdown is so, so strict about it, because 2020 and 2021 is really crazy regarding with COVID-19. So much, another variant again. So yeah, that's tough. So after 2 years, at least 2 years.
We finally got to see each other.
Yep.
And during that time, if I can recall the process, you needed to have insurance, health insurance on the flight,
Mm-hmm.
meaning once you touch down, that you basically have the ability to be covered.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to get COVID 19, you would be able to stay there for 2 weeks.
Yeah, and actually we're worried during the time, because if you were if you were abroad, or coming from abroad and going to the Philippines, you need to quarantine. Quarantine for 14 days, and then we kind of worried about that. But luckily during that time, the quarantine was gone or something, babe.
Okay, there was
Right?
no yes,
Is
there was
there's
no more
no,
quarantine.
yeah, during that time.
That came back off and on. Basically says yes, no, it's just go over there, enjoy your time. But now, oh, if you want to go, there's a quarantine involved. That's what she's basically saying, and it was both mainly off and on, off and
Yeah.
on. So basically, it's like I'm just shooting my luck here.
Yep.
I might just basically spend my whole time in lockdown. That's just what it came down to, and
Mm-hmm.
very risky. I mean, that's a lot of money to spend. Then you're gonna have to spend 2 weeks at a hotel just to
Yeah.
say
And
sorry.
you will pay it out of the pocket.
Hmm. So yeah, like I said, I got insurance on the flight. Basically, if I got sick, it would cover. And number two, I got my cotton swab. That was the requirement before I left, is to have a
Mhm.
cotton swab.
72 hours prior your
Yeah,
flight.
72 hours prior. So you have these very tight time zones of when to acquire this and this, and
A
it
lot of
just it took a lot of planning just to
and
make it work. It's not
paperwork.
it wasn't that easy. So upon my arrival, basically I had a temperature check, but that's about it. Basically, they had like a little pistol, little gun, and they basically
It's a
put to see
thermometer.
if I have any higher elevated temperatures, and
Mm-hmm.
had none of that. That's good. We're gonna pause it. Back to part two.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my temperature was cleared. I was good to see her.
Yeah.
You may begin.
So yeah,
Oh yeah, mask policies. There was a
yeah.
time.
You
Let me
really
hold on, hold on.
okay.
There was a time that made it even more complicated. That you need to have a mask, and there was parts of the times that you actually need a face
Face
shield on
shield.
top of that mask.
Yep.
There was even a time where you need to wear 3 masks at once.
No, it's not. You just wear
A
proper
hazmat suit.
mask. Hazmat? No, it's not. It's just for medical thing.
You have to be in a bubble.
Okay, but you are not.
No,
You
I'm just
won't
joking,
fit in the
guys. It was a mask
bubble.
and a face mask. I bought both. I bought it in bulk from Amazon. So we had all the I had all the necessities per
Mm-hmm.
se.
You really need to wear mask all the time. Actually, for me, I don't have any. I don't have any. I'm not against with the mask thing because it's kind of helpful, even though we don't have pandemic. Look at Japan, or we can have just one some side talks about mask. It's kind of helpful because it's a preventive measures. It's not just using it because we are having some pandemics or something, but at least you just wear mask. But sometimes it's kind of annoying because sometimes you cannot breathe a little bit or something. But for me, I'm used to it because I always use that in my workplace area.
And I remember also too that during my time you need to have your vaccination card.
Yeah, it's a
And I seen
requirement.
some information that just because it's a vaccination card that was American made wasn't good enough to go to the Philippines. It was just a disaster. On top of that, you might need a booster shot, a secondary, third, fifth shot. And there was so many requirements. I mean, like I said, it was really tricky business to plan everything out. Really tricky.
I agree.
So I didn't have the option to get, how do you say, an economical flight. Like, let me plan 3 months down the road. That was too risky. I was afraid that if I planned 3 months to get a good deal, bam, tickets gone because requirements change. So I
No.
literally had to do it in a quick interval.
Yeah, there's no, I mean, like permanent. It's kind of like um, it always change because of the situation.
Now I'll kind of add on to this part really quick. Requirements change so fast that basically my way back, I basically cancel. I had to cancel my flight. I had to book a hotel and book an expensive flight just to get
Ticket.
a point A to point B. I remember I messaged even my supervisor that I might be late. In the
Mm,
Philippines, I forgot how I acquired the data to do it, but I think no, I messaged one of my coworkers
yeah,
to basically text my
tell.
supervisor. So
That's
lots of money
terrible.
just pop gone because changes.
Yeah.
So basically, America was basically we're accepting citizens. Doesn't matter. Now it's like, okay, well, since you're coming from the Philippines or you're coming from China or you're coming from some of these Thailand, some of these foreign countries, if you
Mhm.
come from these foreign countries,
You
we
need to
demand a 3 day, 72 hour, swab
swab
and
test.
all that documentation. And
Yeah,
it's
you
just
should have negative test
so
result.
basically a lot of countries got alienated in the process. So it's just really tricky, really tricky. But I saw her. Now we met, had some hello hello sig sig. We had good food, got to know each other, and
Mhm.
we went our separate ways. I went to America, she stayed in the Philippines, and then we started talking about the K1 visa process, and
Okay.
that was a whole ordeal. Now we're not going to go into everything in regards to K1 visa. We're
Yeah,
not
the
going to teach the
flow. Yeah.
terminology or
Mhm.
all the work that was involved, but we're going to say that now. So we waited for 2 years. So basically,
And waiting again.
K1 visas, all that stuff was out the window. They're not processing anything. Everything is a standstill.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the time the standstill was over, this is what happened. So basically,
Sorry.
I've been saying basically a lot in this video. I don't know why.
Me actually. Actually. Okay.
Basically, on top of basically. So what happened is when they finally started processing the K1 visa, they we became into a backlog.
Yeah.
So
So much backlog prior because before pandemic, the processing of the K1 visa is just 6 to 7 months or 8 months, something like that, and then the beneficiary can go here in America after 8 months or 9 months. So perfect. But after pandemic, you will wait for 1 year for approval. So, see, it's a big difference, and then it's another waiting time for us,
it was more than a year.
for approval, for just
When
approval
did we
one
get
year.
approved?
June.
June.
Yeah.
After 1 year.
Yeah, after a year, really,
It's like
literally after a year for
literally
approval.
after a year.
Yeah.
But the quotes were even longer than that. It was like
Yeah.
13 months,
Maybe
14
yeah,
months.
15 or 16.
Oh yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was up there, and we got lucky.
We're lucky, but within that span period of time, it's so tough. It's high and lows. We experience, roller coaster emotions,
Mhm.
sometimes breakdowns, not breakup, but breakdowns.
Mhm.
And
She was emotional.
I am, but you are emotional too. So, so yeah, it's really tough being so far away with your loved one.
Mhm.
And you can't, especially if you really need some, you know, touch, if you're lonely, like, a hug, but you cannot do it. Is it okay if it's okay if it's a
Mhm.
kind of, it's a neighbor or something, your partner is your neighborhood, but it's along you're living other side of the world. So
So,
so yeah, it's so sad and it's so hard. You really need some patience, strong faith,
mhm.
and most especially is really the communication.
Mhm. Yeah. So we made it. We're here today. So in reality, if this wasn't COVID and we didn't meet during the COVID pandemic, she would have been here, I would
20,
say 2 years ago.
yeah, 2 years ago.
2 years ago. So I kind of look back and be like, that's 2 years wasted. And I know that's not the proper way to look at it. I mean, progress is still gained when you're long distance. At least, like, we having all that time, believe it or not, when you get into a relationship, it's trial and error. You don't even know if that person is for you.
Mm-hmm.
But being long distance, we were making that progress to figuring out if we were meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
So there is no progress lost, but sometimes I look back, be like, hey, she could have been here. We could have been starting our goals. She would have been a nurse by now. We would have been able to purchase a house. There's things that we missed,
Yeah.
So I mean, I look at, I'm grateful, but I also look at some of the, what could have been, and that's
Yeah.
not really healthy the way to look at it.
Yeah.
So
You can usually say it like we waste that 2 years, like we are something like that. I forgot the term that you
not
usually.
necessarily. I do say waste, but I don't mean waste. I mean,
Yeah, but like I forgot the term that he usually used. Like I forgot.
I forgot to.
Okay, never mind.
Time is flied by. I mean,
Oh, actually, kind of we are late or something. We are late in life because of that 2 years of waiting. We didn't supposedly we will spend the time together, but we spent the time in long distance. So
mhm.
instead of, yeah, that's why we call it waste, but not really waste. You know what I mean.
Yeah. So that is what COVID was
Mm-hmm.
to us. Um, there's not really much for me to add on it. I mean, they say dating is hard. Well, long distance is harder.
Harder.
And having long distance for COVID, I can't explain how hard that is. You're no longer picking up rocks, you're moving boulders at that point.
Yeah.
So I mean, yep,
So yeah,
she's here.
yeah. But before we will end this video, for the long distance, for the long distance out there, for you know, living other side of the world, just hang in there. You can do it. We did. Why? And then also you can do it. You just have some faith in on each other. Trust. The best thing in that relationship, especially when you are in long distance relationship, trust each other. Really. Sometimes you have some a little bit. We have that before, but we fixed it. And then also the communication is the key, right,
Mhm.
babe?
Communication. You need one thing I would recommend is developing some coping skills, because obviously it's emotionally trying
Mm-hmm.
to actually accomplish a long distance relationship. So develop coping mechanisms. Have some things that you could do on the side, meaning that your whole life is not on said person. What I used to tell her a lot in the relationship is, I know we're together, but we need to think like separate people.
Yeah.
We need things to work on. I started working 2 jobs. She started working on what did you work on? Nothing? I believe it. But she had her things to work on. So we buried ourselves in our natural life. And
Yeah.
I was doing me, she was doing her, but we understood at the end of the day we are together.
Yeah. And then we're trying to make some connection. That's why we made this YouTube thing. That's how it starts.
And so we were so lazy on YouTube, and then we were getting fights over YouTube.
Yeah.
I basically, what I was trying to say, just add on it really quick, is that I felt like this was a good time for her to make YouTube videos in the Philippines while I was working 2 jobs. Basically, spend a lot of time in the Philippines, make video, go to different restaurants, spend time with your family, make videos, because these are memories that are going to be there for a long term.
Yeah.
We didn't really capitalize on that. Too late.
But that's fine.
Me, with 3 hours of sleep, I'll be like, I can still make a YouTube. I got 30 minutes, and she was
No,
like,
you know what,
she was
guys?
sleeping for
No,
13
shh.
hours a day.
You know what? Because I'm not really used to it. I'm not really good in explaining.
I can tell because your hand signs are like this.
Because maybe the language barrier or something. Because I'm not really used with English thing.
And I said, doing the Philippines doesn't matter.
Yeah, but
Basically, excuse after excuse. I don't know excuses. I just work 2 jobs.
No.
I get it done.
because I'm not really
3
a
hours of sleep, fine, I'll do it.
YouTube image, something you're like that. But I'm trying to cope my weakness. I'm trying to cope this up, so at least I can face here, not really awkward thing, but before it's really look awkward, but at least I can smile, I can talk well right now, I can communicate well, maybe. So-
Alright, guys, hold on. I can see through her lies now. But we're here.
Yeah, we're here. We're married already.
We're married.
We're dating from 2020 until present 2024.
Long time. We're old now.
You're old.
Okay.
You look old.
That's it.
Bye. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like. Oh, I don't know how to do it. Please
Subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, and
share.
follow, share. Do whatever you gotta do.
Okay.